Well, hello everyone. This is Grace of gbmaltese, and Texas is finally out of the deep freeze. So I thought I'd come on here and talk to you since I'm not freezing right now. During all of the cold, I did not do much diamond painting. I did more crocheting because I needed something warm. So I am hopefully going to get this finished soon. This is my diamond dots squares. Look how beautiful those squares are. It's really nice. I love this picture. I'm enjoying it. As I said, during the cold, I did not feel like coming in my craft room too much. I stayed in the other room trying to keep me and the pups warm. I'd had to turn on my other little heater on in here, trying to save some electricity. We were very blessed, very fortunate, in that we lost electricity for about 3 hours one night. And it was the coldest night we had, which I believe it got down to about 8 degrees that night, which is really cold for us, okay? I know those of you who get below 0, I know you're probably thinking, oh, that's nothing. Well, it is for us. We're definitely not prepared for that. We found out just how unprepared we were as far as electricity, water, and other things. So, some people really suffered. My husband and I were very fortunate. As I said, we lost electricity for about 3 hours. That was about 7:30 at night. And I told my husband, I said, I'm just going to go ahead and go to bed and get up underneath all the covers. Because it was cooling down pretty quick, because we kept the heater at about 69, trying not to use any more than we had to, trying to save on power. Of course, we never turn it up very high. And then we'll put maybe a space heater, a small space heater closer to us to keep warm. But it was cold. By the time it got close to the end of that third hour, my nose, it was before that, you know, after about an hour, my nose was getting really cold. I put my nose and everything up under the blankets. I had about 4 blankets on. And I just stayed up underneath those blankets, and just fortunate to have blankets. I am so glad I got my blanket that I crocheted for me and my husband finished, because that helped with a little bit more heat. Then like I said, it came on, and when it came on, I was just so thankful, and I was just feeling so bad for all the ones who had lost electricity for days. They did have some places where they could go, for some people go to keep warm, but not every place had that. And there were some people, the last count I heard was 49 people had lost their lives. That count I wouldn't doubt going up. People were doing anything to try to keep warm. One family burnt one of the beds trying to keep warm, and they lost 3 of their children, got burnt in the fire. And some people were getting in their cars and starting the cars and being succumbed to the carbon monoxide poisoning. I don't know if any of those died. I think they caught most of the ones before they succumbed to the gases and got them to the hospital. But when you're cold, it's hard to think straight. You do anything to try to keep you and your family warm. My heart just was going out to those people. It just so hurtful. Now my daughter, who lives near the Dallas area, it was getting much colder there. They were getting below zero. And what they were doing with her is she was having rolling blackouts. She might have electricity on for 15 minutes, 20 minutes at a time, 30 minutes at a time, and then it would go off for maybe an hour, 2 hours. She never knew when she was going to have electricity and when she wasn't. So she was in the middle of trying to fix herself something to eat, and the power went off in the middle of cooking her ground meat, and the pan was still warm enough that she was able to finish it. It was not as... It didn't have any more pink in it, okay? Let's put it that way. But it wasn't quite what she wanted, but she was so hungry, and she had put some rice on, and so she had her meat and her chewy rice. I guess it might have been chewy, crunchy. I don't, a mix there. So she had that for a meal. She thought she might have enough time to, do something real quick. But, like I said, she had no idea. But she was very thankful that she did have, power coming on and off. Just didn't know when it was going to be. She stayed bundled up under the covers when it would be off for very long. As I said, they did have much colder temperatures there, and they were in freezing temps longer than we were. I'm about 288 miles south of her. And in Houston, of course, they were losing electricity. We lost water for about 20 hours. And we are still having to boil water before you can drink it or use it to cook with. But we've been drinking bottled water, and I've been giving my dogs bottled water to drink because there is bacteria in there and can make you very ill. So we still have that kind of going on. But I am so thankful to be out of the deep freeze, let me tell you. We have not had temperatures last that long at a time. So the electric companies were not ready for that much usage, so they lost power. It was just crazy. I just really felt so sad for the ones who were without electricity for so long and for so, cold, and some were without water for days. I know a lot of people went and stayed with a friend if they were able. Maybe some people had maybe a fireplace, or they might have had a generator. My sister did lose electricity for a couple of days. She, very fortunately, had a generator and was able to keep warm that way. I don't think she ever lost water. So as far as my family, we've been very blessed. One of my nieces lost water for quite a while, and she's having to boil water like we are. She's down in the Houston area. I'm further north in Houston, about 70 miles northeast of Houston. So it was the whole state. Unbelievable craziness. Of course, schools were closed all week. There was no way. We don't have the facilities to keep the roads moving. We don't have all of that equipment that they have up north when you guys know how to deal with this kind of weather. We don't. We suffer in the 100-degree temps in the summertime, and that's hard enough. But tell you what, this got crazy. It was cold. I did not do any videos until Friday, which was my birthday, and it was not quite as cold. I mean, we were still cold, but we did have heat, and I wanted to do the giveaway that Dye Moon Shop has very generously donated, and I'm going to be doing the drawing for that tomorrow, if all goes well. Tomorrow is Monday, February the 21st. So I hope I can get this video up today. Sometimes my internet and my computer is really giving me a hard time. I'm hoping to be able to get a new computer for my birthday present. A new laptop, I guess you might say. I've been wanting one for about a year. Saving up to do that. So, hopefully that when I go to edit these things, it doesn't take me hours to render the videos. So, I think I've decided on the one I want. Just gonna have to get it ordered. The weather was so bad, we didn't have mail all week long. That was really strange. Of course, I didn't care. I didn't want to go out to the mailbox to get it. But yeah, the roads were icy. It wasn't safe for anyone to be getting out. My husband couldn't get to work because he goes about over 20 miles to go to work. So it was crazy. And the saddest thing for my husband was he is an avid bird lover, watcher, whatever, and we have birds at our house. He feeds all the birds, but some of his favorite birds are the purple martins, and they came a little bit earlier this year. Of course, they're usually here by sometime in January, so it would, or the 1st of February, and it wouldn't have mattered if they'd come a little bit later than that, because it still was, they would have been here in time for this horrible winter. It was a death sentence for them, you might as well say. They eat flying insects, and when you have freezing temperatures and you've got ice and snow and freezing rain and all that kind of stuff falling, there are no bugs. My husband had purchased lots of crickets, and we had mealworms, and he was flipping them into the air. And sometimes it works. He flipped hundreds, and they never would go after them. He's done it before, and they did go after them and ate them. He could not get them to go after them. And we, at one time, had maybe a dozen birds or more, but after it was all over and done, we lost 8 of the birds. The others are gone. We don't know where they're at. He was devastated. And there are other people who lost 45 of their birds. They were having the same problem. They could not get the birds to eat. There was nothing we could do for them. So Jerry was just crushed. But I must say, the other birds, the seed eaters, they ate over 40 pounds of seed. We had a lot of birds, and they had plenty to eat. We had 3 hummingbirds stay with us this winter. And Jerry would bring their feeders in at night to keep them from freezing. He'd wrap hand warmers around the glass to keep the sugar water that he fixes for them from freezing. But what would happen, those little nibs that they put their tongues down into to get the juice, they were freezing. Every about 45 minutes, Jerry was bringing them in. He has probably 6 feeders out there, so he would alternate them. So there was always something for them to eat. And he would get the ice off of there so they could eat. And those hummingbirds are alive, well, and happy. So he did a lot for the other birds. He's just wanted to be able to help them all. We had so many. The bird feeders were full of birds, and we have a lot of bird feeders. They were all just covered with birds. They were so hungry. He put some on the food on the ground. They were covering the ground, the feeders. He puts the thing that most birds like to eat is black oil sunflower seed. So they were eating a lot of that. He also puts millet, peanuts. You would not be, we buy jars of roasted unsalted peanuts. You would not believe how many birds love to eat that. Birds that have never eaten peanuts before will eat those. He'll break them into smaller pieces for the smaller birds, and we had some on the porch and in different places, and they were eating all that. And he put suet out. He put all kinds of food out, just continually feeding the birds. So he did a good job. He really worked hard keeping the birds fed. He was putting seed out continuously. It seemed like, you know, they just needed more and more to try to keep themselves warm. They needed more food. We have all kinds of birds that come around. The eating has slowed down a lot. Today we got in the 60s. It was heavenly. Yesterday was heavenly. It was even the 50s yesterday, and it was so nice. The sun was shining. I know that the little birds that made it were so happy to be able to get out. They could fly around and not be cuddled up so cold. Normally we have more purple martins come later in the year, and I hope we don't have any more. If it had only been cold and icy for 2 or 3 days, it would not have been a problem for the martins. They would have been able to make it, but that's not what happened. So that was just tough. It was hard. You don't want to see any creatures suffering, but sometimes there's nothing you can do. But I am just thrilled to death to be on here being able to talk to you again. I had so many of you who either texted me or you sent me an email. Thank you so much. You were worried about me. You guys are the best. You just are so fabulous. You had seen what was going on in Texas, and you were asking if I was okay. And I wanted to get on here and do this video so I could let everyone know I'm doing fine. We're fine. Everyone in my family is fine. So we are just thrilled to be through that. Now there are going to be a lot of people with broken water pipes and all that going on, so there will still be a lot of people suffering. Please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. There are a lot of people suffering here in Texas, and I know those of you up north are getting bombarded with snow and cold, and keep warm. That's all I can tell you. And I hope you don't lose any of your electricity, your water, anything. It's awful. You just don't know how much we don't know how much we depend on all that. So, of course, I had my dogs inside and having to give them bottled water also. I am not giving them water that has bacteria in it. Just using bottled water. Have to be just being really careful. They said that so many people had broken pipes and everything. It just had drained the water tank here. And so they had to wait for it to refill. And when it did, of course, there's the bacteria and everything else because it got so low. So they'll let us know when we don't have to boil water anymore. How are things going in your area? How's the weather? Are you doing okay? I hope and pray everyone is well and warm and safe. This just really lets you see just how vulnerable we are when it comes to the weather and other things, and how much we need to help one another. It was just so nice that there were people ready and willing to open their doors to allow people to come in their homes. We don't have anyone that lives real close by. Would have definitely allowed. I'm not sure where I got cut off. My camera cut off. I was just saying I would have definitely allowed people to come in and get warm. It just... I couldn't get to my daughter. The roads were icy and all that, but she said she was doing fine. We were just texting. She was saving her battery because she could only charge her phone certain times when the electricity was on. So it was crazy, I'm telling you. There are a lot of people that suffered, and it was nice that there were people. There are still good people out there, and it's so wonderful to hear about those people and to talk about them. People who open their doors to allow others to come in and get warm. They did have some warming centers where people could go. So if they could get there, then they had a place to go to get warm. My husband went to the store early this morning we needed just a few things. He said all of the milk was gone. All of the eggs were gone. He said there might have been about 10 loaves of bread. The shelves were just picked over because people were trying to, when you're stuck in, you can't get to the store. When you can get there, and of course the stores couldn't get their trucks in, so they're having to wait to restock. He said that they were restocking like crazy. He got to Walmart. I mean, we don't have a lot of places to shop here where I live. We have Brookshire Brothers is one of our grocery stores. We have H-E-B. We have a very small H-E-B. And we have Walmart. That's it. That's where you go for your groceries. So we usually go to Walmart because you can pick up other things that you might need at the same time. You can get more than just groceries. And normally trying to shop for the best prices. And it's just, my daughter was telling me, and she lives in a large suburb in Dallas, and they've got a lot of stores. She went yesterday, and she said the same thing. There was no milk. no eggs. They were just wiped clean. She had to go to, I think, 3 different stores to get the things she needed. Just, you know, when you're hunkered down for a while, and when you finally can get to the store, you just get it all. And of course, there was no water. We had water. I try to keep water on hand. You just never know. We get hurricanes, and I drink bottled water all the time. The water here, for some reason, makes my stomach hurt. I don't know what it is, but I used to drink it, and it just made me so sick. I mean, I was in the bathroom. So, yeah, I have to drink bottled water for that reason. So, I always normally have it. I just cannot drink it. And I've had other people tell me the same thing. My sister-in-law is the same way. She can't drink it. It makes her feel ill. So I don't know what's in it. I don't know if there's certain chemicals or what that I'm real sensitive to. It's just weird. I don't know. Anyway, as far as my birthday, I didn't do anything for my birthday. Nothing. I was just, I was helping my husband lower some of his birdhouses, and it was kind of a sad day because we were finding some of the dead birds. We were in the 40s, I guess, on my birthday. So we had gotten above freezing, and the sun was out, and I went out there with him, and I was trying to console him because it really did hurt him. I mean, I didn't like it either, but he had worked so hard to get them to eat, and you know, you do your best. That's all you can do, is you do your best. So I won't forget this birthday. the winter of the deep freeze in Texas. And I hope it never happens again. I think it's been like a century or something that since something like this has happened. We've had below freezing temperatures for this many days. Just crazy. So I'm ready for the warmer weather. I mean, yes, of course, we'll be complaining in the summertime when we get that hot, you know, 90 and 100 degree weathers with high humidity. Yeah. If you lose electricity during that time, you will definitely suffer. You cannot live without air conditioning. Here in Texas, it's too hot. I guess if you got used to it, maybe. But the way houses are built now, you don't get that cross wind like the way they used to. I know my grandparents, they didn't have electricity a long time ago, but houses were built different. They had more windows where they could open them, and they got cross breezes. We don't have that anymore. We have our homes built to have electricity. There are some places that they can get gas in their home, but where I'm at, we don't. But they said people who even had gas lost power also. They lost their source of heat. So, you can't win for losing, I guess, in that case. But we made it. I know there are a lot of people who have a very sad lost members of their family, and some are still without power. And there are lots dealing with those broken pipes. Oh my gosh. My husband had lights on the pipes. We're just, like I said, we're blessed. We did not lose the electricity but just a short time. Or we would have been without water much longer. Because the pipes would have frozen. You have to, I mean, they were wrapped, but we have a couple of different areas we put lights on them in-house because they're prone to freezing. And that's what we were scared of, broken pipes, and you know, your house gets flooded, ruined. So there's a lot of people having to deal with that. So I guess I'm going to call this the Texas in the icebox, some deep freeze or something like that. Coming out of the deep freeze in Texas. Whatever. I'm glad that the cold weather is behind us for now. I don't expect this to happen again this year. You know what? Never say never. That's what my mom always told me. Never say never. Because you never know what could happen. I mean, we have had ice storms in March, but we've never had anything last this many days. I guess that's what really was the breaking point, was for how long it lasted. Just weird. Weird. Okay, there we go. But I'm enjoying working on this and talking to you. I remember one year it snowed when I was in college. We got quite a bit of snow. Of course, the cold days did not last like it did here. And I remember my husband, well, we weren't married at the time. Jerry and I were dating. I remember throwing a snowball right up in his face, and I jumped down to run away, and my feet just slipped. The sidewalks had ice all over them. Yeah. Yep, I wasn't used to that. Hit my head. I had a headache the rest of the day. To this day, I think I might have had a concussion, and I think that may be what's wrong with me now. I don't know. It's just, I still remember that. Man, that hurt. That concrete and ice are hard. My husband kept saying, you need to go to the clinic. I'm like, no, I didn't want to go. And yeah, I was fiddle farting around and slipped and hit my head. But I never passed out. That I don't remember passing out. Just remember my head hurt so bad all day long. After that, I was so careful when I was walking on that ice. I was just about clinging to Jerry's arm. I was scared to fall again and get another knot on my head. Yeah, we not only can I not drive in it, I can't walk in it. Don't give me the ice. Can't handle it. I used to be able to handle the heat a whole lot better when I was younger. I used to be one of those people who laid out in that sun, and I tanned very easily. I'm guessing it's my Mediterranean blood. I'm half Greek. And I just laid out in that sun I just enjoyed it. It felt nice. I could stay out there for hours. Now, yeah, we know now that's not a good thing to be doing. I have not had any skin cancers from that I know of. I haven't found any, but I have dark hair, dark eyes, and as I said, I tanned and didn't burn. So you're less likely to get skin cancer, but it's not impossible. I know. Nothing is impossible. And then I had my brother, you know, y'all remember my brother Daryl that passed away from cancer. He had skin cancers, but he was light. He had blue eyes because his dad, he had a different dad. His dad died, and my mom was a widow when she married my dad. So he had lighter hair, blue eyes, light complected, and he would tan, but he would burn also. So he was in the Marines for several years, and I know they were outside a lot. But yeah, he dealt with skin cancers, and that went into his lungs. It was just... So, I do not get out there in that sun much now. Now I know that it can cause more wrinkles and all that fun and good stuff. And another thing, I had a hysterectomy when I was in my 40s, and when I'd go out in the sun, I would get these really dark brown places on my face caused from hormones. So I couldn't go out in the sun like I used to because it would come up with those big brown spots, and just weird. So I don't get out in the sun like I did before and just lay out there just letting it bake me. You know, no, I didn't put on suntan lotion. I put on, you know, accelerator because I wasn't burning. I was tanning, and, you know, I was very, very brown. My mama would tell me, get out of that sun, you're just... But I'd always have people tell me I had the most beautiful tan. Because I was very careful. Yes, I would time it to make sure I would turn over. I was kind of like roasting a piece of meat. I would time it to make sure, you know, I didn't tan too much on one side and, you know, be uneven. I guess that's that. I don't know if I'm OCD. I call myself kind of a perfectionist at times. I used to do oil paintings, and I painted with acrylics. You know, paint some landscapes and different things. I had to finally quit because I would keep painting and painting and trying to make it more perfect and more perfect. And I was driving myself crazy with it. And that's one nice thing about diamond painting. It's marked for me. I don't have to think about it. And I'll do the same thing when I'm coloring. I will keep messing with it and messing with it. I'm like, okay, I need this shaded here a little bit more. And I will drive myself crazy. I have to try to not be that way so much so I can enjoy the coloring more, because I have a lot of coloring books and a lot of coloring pencils and all sorts of things. And I have said, gosh, I've been saying this for maybe a couple of years, that I was going to do coloring on my channel. I've never gotten around to it. But it's because of that, I guess, OCD, I don't know, whatever it is that keeps me from, you know, enjoying it enough, because I'm like, oh, I need to do a little bit more right here, and okay, this color, oh, I don't know if that color looks just right or not. Just be silly about it. Now, if you do color by numbers, I have some of those Belba family books. I love those. I love the ones, and I did a video showing making them into diamond paintings. I enjoyed doing that, and I enjoy doing those. Coloring. I like to just put the X's. I used to, well, sometimes I'll color it all the way, but I like to just put the X on it. Whoops, the X on it instead of coloring the whole square in. For one thing, it's quicker, and another, I think it looks better. That's just me. other people colored in, and they look just fine. So I do enjoy doing those. And I guess I could do those and talk, because I don't have to concentrate on making sure I'm coloring it just perfect. I got to get over that. Just got to. Because I've got a piece that I started and I have not picked it up in months, because I just know I'll drive myself nuts trying to make it look just, I don't know. I don't know what I have in mind. You know, you think you got something in mind, you're like, that just didn't come out the way I wanted it. But I enjoy doing the diamond painting, and I enjoy doing my crochet because I can control that better. I'm not having to worry about the colors I'm putting down. I do sometimes with my crochet, picking out colors to make something. What color should I use? Anybody else out there like that? It drives me insane. But I've done so many different crafts, and I love crafting. I've always loved it. I used to use glitter all the time on my school projects. They had to be just so. They had to be crafty. I wanted them to just look just perfect. Well, I have probably been talking long enough at this point. You've heard probably more than you wanted to about the deep freeze in Texas. But if you have any questions about anything, just put it down below. Please comment below how you are doing. And how's the weather where you are? What are you working on? I'm hoping I'm going to get this finished soon. And I have my beautiful dachshund I need to finish up from Diamond Shop. I have it in the other room to work on. But like I said, I just was so cold. I just wanted to mess with my yarn, keep myself warm. I'm going to let you go for now, guys. Y'all take care. I love you. God bless. Bye.